Continuing my look at the expanded format today, we have what is arguably the best deck in expanded at the moment. It is Shadow Rider Calyrex. This is a very, very powerful psychic type attacker. It has 320 HP as a VMAX Pokemon, and it arguably has one of the best abilities in the game. Underworld Door means that we can attach a psychic energy from our hand to one of our benched psychic Pokemon, and if we do, we can draw 2 cards. That means that if we have 4 Shadow Rider Calyrex in play, we will be accelerating 4 energy and also drawing 8 cards every turn, which is super, super good. It allows us to get through our deck very, very quickly. It's also very synergetic with the attack Max Geist. For 3 colorless energy, we deal 10 damage, plus an extra 30 for each psychic energy in play. Depending on how many psychic energy we can get going, this can be a very potent one-hit knockout style attack very early on, sometimes as early as turn 2, and we can also get a little help setting these Shadow Riders up by utilizing Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team GX. This card, though it is a little bit low on the HP side these days, only 240, which is a weird thing to say to be brutally honest. It's not necessarily a great attacker per se, but its GX attack is definitely very strong. Horror House GX for a single psychic energy means that your opponent cannot play any cards from their hand during the next turn. That means they can't play a supporter, they can't attack energy, they can't do anything to progress their board state apart from what they already have, and that's effectively giving us an extra turn to get ourselves our Shadow Riders set up. If we have an extra psychic energy on there as well, we can also force our opponent to draw up to 7, which could potentially power up our Poltergeist attack for 2 colorless energy. It does, two psychic energy even. It does 50 damage times the amount of trainer cards that your opponent reveals from their hand. A very solid attack, not necessarily super good, but in the early game it can be quite useful. We also have, as an attacker, an old classic, a Prism Star card, Lunala Prism Star. It has 2 attacks, both of them are pretty solid. Full Moon Star allows us to search our deck for energy cards and discard pile for energy cards and attach them to our Pokemon in any way we like for every opponent's Pokemon in play. That means that potentially in the late game, if we've lost a lot of energy, Lunala Prism Star can come in and accelerate up to 6 energy back onto our board. It's very, very powerful. Or we can utilize Psystorm in the late game for 4 psychic energy. We do 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all Pokemon, and that's going to deal a lot of damage. In Expanded, there are a lot of energy cards getting thrown around, so we can definitely make the most out of that. When it comes to our other Pokemon, we have a 1-1 Alolan Muk line. Alolan Muk turns off the abilities of all basic Pokemon in play, which is very, very useful. We don't have any basics that have abilities apart from the obligatory copy of Tapu Lele. Lots of other decks rely heavily on those basic abilities, so Alolan Muk can be very, very powerful. We also have Tapu Lele. Wonder Tag is pretty good. It's a pretty good ability. Moving on to some other cards that we might not know about if we've only worked through Standard before. Silent Lab is a stadium that works really, really well with this particular deck. It has the exact same effect as our Alolan Muk. All basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. That is also very good for us. We've got stage 1s with abilities, and it slows our opponent down. Of course, it does obviously get affected by other stadiums replacing it, which is an issue. Maybe we can get Field Blowered, whatever it is, but it can be useful in the early game. We also have cards like Super Rod, which can be used to shuffle any 3 in combination, basic energy or Pokemon from our discard pile back to our deck. So if we don't want to use Lunala Prism, we can get the energy back that way. We also have a very, very cool supporter card, Mallow. This searches our deck for 2 cards and puts those 2 cards on the top of the deck. Now, when this card came out, that was a super strong effect, but it wasn't necessarily useful in a lot of decks. In this deck, it guarantees you that you can get 2 cards out of your deck effectively for free. Accelerated energy, draw 2 cards, you're drawing into the 2 cards that you searched for with Mallow. That seems pretty solid. Beyond that, the rest of the cards are relatively staple. Obviously, there are some staple expanded cards that you might not be sure about, but you can always double check what they mean by copying the list that's down in the description into PTCGO and checking it out yourself. If you've got any questions, then comment down below. Otherwise, I'm going to take this onto the expanded ladder and see if I can't win a couple of games. I mean, it's the best deck in format, right? We should be able to. So expanded format has been a lot of fun over the last couple of days. I will be going back to standard stuff very soon though, because we have just had Oceania Regionals announced today, literally today as I'm recording this, so that is big news. We are very excited for that. I'm going to attach a Floatstone here to our Gengar and Mimikyu going second. It's a very, very good card to start off with, and I'm going to use Mysterious Treasure here, discard a card, and search our deck for a Psychic Pokemon. We'll play Calyrex down. We will also use the Mysterious Treasure to discard VS Seeker and grab another basic. I'm thinking another Calyrex seems pretty good. Looks like we don't have Grimer, unfortunately, so Muk is not going to be able to be played here, but we can play Professor Juniper, discard our hand, draw 7. It's Professor's Research. Alright, what have we got? What can we do? I'm going to attach to Gengar, then I'm going to use Mysterious Treasure. We'll get rid of the Juniper here, we don't really need that. Grab ourselves another Calyrex, get as many of these set up as we possibly can, and then we will Horror House. Our opponent will not be able to play any cards from their hand this turn. They will be able to utilize Altered Creation though, so they will be able to attack, just not accelerate their board state any more than they already have, which, to be honest, is pretty good. They actually can use Stormy Mountain because that's in play, so that's not a problem, but we're going to try here. We're going to try and get a good board state set up so that we can just go on and rampage through this game and win. Let's play Trainers Mail. We're going to grab, I think, the Fog Crystal. That seems like the smart choice. Grab ourselves an energy. Actually, we could get the Silent Lab. I don't mind that either. We do have Research and Mallow, so... I mean, the Mallow doesn't matter. We don't have a supporter, so... we don't have an energy, so that's okay. We'll throw down the Silent Lab regardless, and Research. We'll draw into an energy. That's like 11 in the deck. And we've found ourselves Fog Crystal, so that's a big win. We'll use that Fog Crystal to search out an energy. Then we've got a whole bunch of stuff we could do here. I think I'm just going to use Underworld Door, although I really should thin... I should thin something, right? I should discard something. Let's Mysterious Treasure away. Let's get rid of Guzma. We can always grab that back later. We'll grab the Calyrex VMAX, throw that into play, and now I think it is probably fine to Underworld Door. We'll attach to the Calyrex with a Floatstone, drawn into another energy and another Calyrex, so that's a big win for us. We'll Underworld Door again, try and draw into another energy. 2 energy, that's perfect. We can throw down our third Calyrex here. We can accelerate another energy with Underworld Door. We'll put that onto our Calyrex on the bench, and then we can manually attach as well if we'd like. Just depends where we want to put it. I think on the Gengar and Mimikyu is fine. Actually, no, we could get knocked out by that Dragonite, so we'll put it on the bench. We will then retreat into our Calyrex, and I think we're pretty much fine. We could Field Blower all this Muscle Band away. I don't think it matters too much. We're just going to Max Geist. I don't think that Dragonite can realistically get to 320 damage very easily, so we should be okay, at least for this turn, especially considering the fact that ADP does like to use Altered Creation and then use Ultimate Ray, so we're probably expecting to be hit by an Ultimate Ray this turn. Now, it is important to note that because of Tapu Koko, they could theoretically get the energy in play to attack with Dragonite, but they will need to replace the Stadium. Silent Lab obviously doing the job there on Tapu Koko Prism. Very, very useful card. As I mentioned, Silent Lab very, very strong. Looks like our opponent is actually looking to go for Path to the Peak, which would be quite frustrating, to be brutally honest. I mean, it's fine. We've got Field Blower, so we can get rid of it. So I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, that is something to be worried about. Path to the Peak will turn off all of our abilities, not just our basics, so we do need to be wary of that. Looks like they've got a Floatstone. At this stage, I don't know if they have the energy. They did play Guzmahala, so they should have something, right? They should have access to some sort of energy. Just a matter of what energy that they actually use. There's a double dragon, so they're going to attach that, and then they will probably just Ultimate Ray here. Beautiful. So they've Ultimate Rayed. That's fantastic for us, ironically. One of the things that ADP really likes to do is trying to take knockouts quickly, and our deck is difficult to KO. I'm not going to lie to you. It's very, very hard. We can actually use a supporter card called Acerola in this situation to just perfectly set ourselves up. So we are going to Quick Ball. We are going to go searching for Tapu Lele here. We'll just double check that Acerola's in the deck. It is, so that's fantastic. We'll throw down that Tapu Lele, and then we'll remember that Path of the Peak was in play, so we will remove that with Field Blower, and we will cry ourselves to sleep tonight. Okay, well now we need to... Now we need to think a little bit. I was kind of hoping that we could just Acerola, and we would have been able to if I hadn't have done that. Oh, no. Okay. And I can't even blame Expanded for that one. That's an error of the highest order. We're just going to Marnie, reduce the amount of cards our opponent has access to, whilst increasing the amount that we have access to. And it looks like we are at least going to be able to attack this turn, which is good. We won't be able to get rid of the Calyrex yet, which sucks, but you know, maybe our opponent doesn't find Boss. Maybe they don't find Guzma. We're going to Underworld Door. We're going to throw a whole bunch of Psychic Energy onto our field here. There's that Acerola that we could have used before. We will throw this energy onto Calyrex, and then we can attach manually as well. I like that. We'll play down Silent Lab again, just to make life a little bit more frustrating, and we will retreat into a fresh Calyrex and Max Geist for KO. Now that's doing a solid amount of damage. 280 is pretty much a KO on anything in the expanded format at the moment, apart from VMAXs obviously. But we are only a couple of energies away. It is a real shame that Calyrex on the bench is still there, because now that we've done that, we have kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit, in the sense that our opponent can easily just gust up 2 Pokemon now and win the game. But it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I mean, we're just going to assume that everything's going to go right from here. To be honest, me playing down the Tapu Lele could have caused this to happen anyway, right? They could gust out the Tapu Lele and then knock out the Gengar and Mimikyu, so it's not the end of the world, but definitely not ideal. Looks like our opponent's playing Guzma and Hala here. They're going to be going to grab their energy, probably a Muscle Band and a Stadium as well. Honestly, I couldn't care less about what the Stadium is at this point. We have a myriad of different ways to get around a potential path to the peak. Looks like they're just going for Devoured Field to try and increase the amount of damage that they are dealing. I don't think that they're ever going to be able to get to Calyrex, though. 320 is a big, big number. Dragon Gale does 250, plus, of course, they have access to the 30 extra from their ADP. That's 280. Dragon Field or Devoured Field is not going to quite get them there, I don't think. What they will need is a card that's coming out very, very shortly in the Brilliant Stars set, and that is essentially Choice Band, but for Vs. A very, very powerful card indeed. We've got an energy to attach. I don't know if we want to use our ability here. We've only got 8 cards left in the deck. I'm just going to quick ball and see what those 8 cards are. We do have Silent Lab. We have N in here as well, so it is okay. It is okay to potentially go for that. We can also get some big damage off with a Lunala here, which would actually be incredibly strong. We can Underworld Door here, put an extra energy on our Lunala Prism, and then we'll be able to pick up this Calyrex, remove all of the damage from the field. We'll promote the one with the Float Stone at the moment, and it looks like our opponents just decided to concede, and honestly, I don't blame them. We had a pretty good shot to win. So again, we've started with our Gengar and Mimikyu, which, to be honest, shouldn't happen as often as it has here. This time, we've got Fog Crystal for our Calyrex, and we've got an energy to attach as well. We could put that on the bench Calyrex. I think that's fine. Horror House is obviously useful, but it's not as useful as it could be right now. I'm going to go for the Grimer and play that down. That means next turn we can put the Air Balloon, sorry, not the Air Balloon, the Float Stone on the Gengar and Mimikyu. We can evolve into Muck, and then we can play Professor Juniper and draw a fresh set of 7 cards. We're looking like we're in a pretty good situation when it comes to the kind of situation that we've brought ourselves here. We've got plenty of playable cards, and we've got the potential to attack next turn, plus a single energy means we can Horror House and stop our opponent from doing things. And it looks like we're playing against Pikachu V-Union. Got a bit of an electric deck going here. Quick Ball's probably going to find something like, yep, there it is, Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX. This expanded format is very much dominated by these kind of cards at the moment, so if you aren't necessarily up with the modern sets, maybe you don't have all the cards that you need for a standard deck, or maybe you've played in the past but you haven't been able to keep up with the rotation for any number of reasons, then Expanded is a fantastic place to start playing the game. I actually saw some statistics on Expanded recently. Apparently twice as many people are playing it, and then twice as many people as thrice as many people, 3 times as many people now, as standard, are playing Theme Deck as well. So that's a very interesting one. I don't know if Theme Deck is necessarily something that I'd want to play, but Expanded definitely is. So I'll continue to do my best to not fumble too bad with these decks. Although, to be fair, I have kind of fumbled quite a lot recently, which is an issue. But that's okay. We're getting better. We're getting better. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Okay, so what is our opponent doing here? They are looking to try and get an attack off with their not with their Tapu Koko. I don't know why I said that. They're trying to get an attack off with their Pikachu and Zekrom. It looks like they're going for N here, so we'll shuffle the hand into the deck and draw cards equal to the number of prizes we have remaining. Not necessarily great, but a perfect group of cards there for me, as long as this Trainers Mail is any good. I mean, we can Quick Ball for Tapu Lele, so it's not the end of the world, but, you know, it's not ideal by any stretch. I'd much rather just have a supporter, to be honest. Now, our opponent's going to try and get an attack off here with Pikachu and Zekrom. In order to do that, they'll need to use Tapu Koko, which means they're going to need to get that onto the bench as quickly as possible. And you can see them playing all of their ability cards right now. They know that if Muk comes down, they won't be able to get these things in play. So, definitely a good idea to try and get those in quickly, but it doesn't look like it has happened. And leaves the door open for us a little bit. Let's Fog Crystal. I'm going to grab Shadow Rider Calyrex V. And then I think the best thing to do is to Trainers Mail here. We'll save the Quick Ball just in case. Looks like Professor Juniper is an option for us, though. So that's fantastic. We will grab ourselves a new Pokemon. Probably another Calyrex here with the Quick Ball. We have so many search cards to get into our VMAXs. Looks like we've got plenty of energy left as well. So it doesn't really matter if we discard a bunch of these. I'll throw that down. And if we attach to the active Gengar and Mimikyu here, there's actually nothing our opponent can do next turn. It's effectively just giving us a free turn to set our board up, which is brilliant, really. I mean, we've got a fantastic situation here now. Muk is in play, so none of these basic Pokemon are going to be able to use their abilities anymore. We've got Silent Lab just in case things go wrong, and then we will go for an energy off of this Fog Crystal and Horror House, I think. There's nothing much that we really need to do. We can safely search for that energy, by the way, in order to thin the deck to try and increase the chances of us getting a good card off of the top deck here. And VSeeker's not terrible. I mean, we do have Professor Juniper in there. Probably not required. I think we're going to have to just end, to be honest. But the question comes to, do we want to attach an energy to the active or to the benched Calyrex? If we do end, we'll shuffle our opponent into 6 cards. If we attach to the active, which I think is the right decision, then 3 of those cards need to be trainer cards in order for us to get a knockout. So we're going to try and do that. We will play and shuffle our hand into our deck and draw equal to the number of prize cards remaining. Hopefully our opponent has drawn into 3 trainers. That would be fantastic. In the meantime, we're just going to Underworld Door here, I think. I don't think that there's anything else that we really need to worry about. We've got energy in our hand. We have the Super Rod in our hand as well for later. We didn't draw into another VMAX, which is a shame. And what does our opponent have? They have 5, count them, trainer cards. That's 250 damage. That's a pretty solid knockout. It's unfortunate that we only knocked out the Tapu Koko there, but you know what? We can certainly live with it. A single prize in this matchup is going to do wonders for us. Unfortunately, our opponent will be able to get their full blitz off here, but the question is going to be, can we get ourselves a knockout and take that Pikachu and Zekrom down? If we can, we could be on our way to a big win. So we'll wait and see what our opponent does here. They're going for Battle Compressor, obviously using Pikachu V... Okay, well, there you go. I mean, I would have liked to have seen how that played out, honestly. You know what, though? I think we probably would have won against Pikarom. We had everything that we needed. We just needed more time, I suppose. Hey, thanks to everyone over here for being a member. If you'd like to be a member, then jump down below. There's a little join button. It's next to the subscribe button, which, if you're watching to this point, you've probably already clicked. My door just closed on me. There's a ghost in my room. I better go and deal with that. If you could leave a comment as well, letting me know whether you're enjoying expanded format right now, or whether you're excited for standard, that would be fantastic. Hey, also, over here, this picture of the Queen, you should click on that. That'd be... It's a bloody video.